Welcome everyone to the Kuma and Panda Beginner's Guide. As you can see here, Kuma and Panda are joke characters basically. They're big memes, they have tons of like really memey and like funny moves, so it makes them a fan favorite for new players, especially casuals. A lot of people like this character. He's really funny, he has a lot of interesting stuff. So for people who don't know, Panda and Kuma are basically exactly the same characters, so this guide will cover both. Their only differences are during their heat state, which I will be explaining, so you can skip later to the heat section if you want to see the differences between the two characters. But yeah, overall, Kuma is a very simple, stance-based mix-up character. Not very strong. He takes big risks because all of his moves are just so incredibly risky. So he excels a lot in low level, so if you're a new player, you can go very far with him, mainly just because he's unsafe and he's very risky, but he's a big matchup check. Like, if your opponent doesn't know how to handle some of this stuff, like, they're just going to lose because they're just going to be going into all these, like, different roles and weird bear stuff. Like, he has a lot of very weird moves, which we're going to be getting into here. So, if you are new, even though he's not very strong on the tier list, if you are new and you like him, you can get a lot of mileage out of him, especially in low ranks. So he might be a cool character for you to pick up. Before we begin, as always, this is a beginner's guide. This is made specifically for brand new players. All you really need to know is just the basics to be able to watch this video. So if you are brand new, you go check out my beginner's guide where I go over everything you need to know to start watching guides. And I will be referring to moves by the notation. So if you don't know the notations, that's basically all you need. So let's begin. Like I said, Kuma is a very interesting... What's weird about Kuma and Panda is that they're very big. Like, you can see how big he is, and he has a big hitbox too. So this means this is a big weakness for him, really, because a lot of characters will get combos on him that wouldn't work on other characters because he's so massive. They get extra wall damage, like specific combos for him. He struggles in that because he's such a big body, and that's generally not what we're looking for. In fighting games, we want smaller hitboxes, not really big ones. So that is a little bit of a weakness. It can be a benefit in some situations, but yeah, overall, that's just something to know. He's very big. So as usual, we're going to start with his poking and strings, just stuff for basics to learn. We've talked about it as always. Jab is very important. Kuma's jab is not very strong at all. As you can see here, the range is not, it's kind of just missing there. Really not the greatest. But jab is important on all characters. It's one of the most important moves in the game in Tekken. So jab is just by pressing 1. Standard jab, +1, 10 frames. Its only weakness is its range, but it has the same uses as most other jabs in the game. Just quick +1, take your turn back. We have a few extensions out of this jab. We can do 1-2, which is a very quick high extension. It's -5, so it's completely safe. Again, usually we don't like high strings when it comes to jabs, because when you guys get into like the higher levels, your opponents will be ducking and will be launching you. But in lower levels, this is a pretty good string to use. 1-2, safe. Yeah, like I said, safe on block. We have 1-1-1. This is a very gimmicky string. As you can see here, it's actually a launcher. So if we change them from block, and we press 1-1-1, it actually gives us a full combo. Now, the catch is that it's very unsafe. If your opponent blocks this, -16. New players, if you're in low ranks, you can get away with using this because some people won't know how to punish it, but it's very risky. I wouldn't make a habit of using this. But what's cool about it is it's not guaranteed, right? So if you just hit the first jab and your opponent's blocking, do you see how the other two hits won't connect? Like, the jab connects, but if you keep pressing 1, it's not a natural combo. Nothing else will connect. But on counter hit, it will. So if you know your opponent likes to mash buttons, like if you know every time you jab, your opponent is like mashing on his controller, which a lot of people in lower ranks will be because they don't respect strings, we can actually, this becomes guaranteed and it becomes a good launcher for us. So keep that in mind. If you're like using your strings, you're jabbing, you're doing 1-2 to mix them up, and they always like press immediately after, you're like, okay, go for this, try and catch them off guard. And again, a lot of new players won't even know to punish this. So it's something worth noting. Again, very risky. You'll notice that throughout this guide, a lot of Kuma's moves are like very minus on block, which means good players who know what they're doing will launch you for it. So you got to be careful, but it is worth noting. And obviously, if you've been using 1-2 a lot, because I think this is like a little bit better, your opponents might be starting to duck. So when you know they're going to duck, you can throw in the 1-1-1, mix them up, and try and get the launch. Worth noting, right? 2-1 is a better string than 1-2, in my opinion, because it is a high mid, means your opponent can't duck it. Only -3, so not bad at all. Just a very quick. 2-1s are like very common in Tekken. We use 2-1s just to basic pressure, can't get out, see if our opponent respects us. Yeah, good string overall. We have down back 1-2. This is a string it seems unsafe, right? So down back 1-2, high mid, can't be ducked, -13, that's not what we're looking for. But what's interesting about this move is if we press down back and hold 2 down, we can charge it up. So making it a pretty decent string. Now, again, if your opponent's going to be mashing on you, you want to be careful with this, but it gives you +3 on block. So if your opponent respects you and doesn't press, +3 on block. That's very nice with good pushback. So something worth noting there. I wouldn't use the normal version because again it is -13, but something interesting there. We have our standard down forward 1. So usually in Tekken for poking, most characters will use their jab and then their down forward 1 to mix it up when they start ducking the jabs. But as we can see, Kuma's down forward 1 is very, very weak in range. This range is like pretty awful. Like it just misses. And it's -6, which is not the greatest. Also comes out at 15 frames, so a lot slower than the average down forward 1. Still can be useful for mixing up your opponent if you know they're going to duck as just like a safe poke. But yeah, can't say I recommend this one a lot. We have a follow-up with 2, -11, but again, most of these strings are just, you don't want to be throwing them out all the time, but when you know your opponent's not respecting you, or just kind of like to catch them off guard, you can throw in the 2 as a second hit. And we also have 1+2 as well. So you can do down forward 1, 2, and then 1+2 for another string, -14. So be very careful with this one. I believe it does give a knockdown on counter hit if we check. So it can be useful, but again, overall, I'd say stay away from this. It's way too risky. Yeah, it gives a good knockdown. When it comes to mid pokes with range, better than down forward 1, in my opinion, is down forward 2. This move has very, very nice range. If we step back a little bit, yeah, this hits. It'll hit from pretty decently far away. -9, so safe on block, but keep in mind that -9 means you completely give up your turn, so if you press, you're going to take a lot of damage. But a very good range, right? And -9, and what's cool about this one is, this is one of your best whiff punishing tools. It has a 1 extension, which is a full launcher. So it's -16, so you got to be very careful. But this is a full natural combo. So if you're just like kind of here and waiting for your opponent to run in, they run into you and you land down forward 1, 2. This is guaranteed into full damage. So pretty useful tool. This is one of your best launchers in my opinion. Again, -16, so usually we don't want to be using this on block. But if it's more of a whiff punishing tool. So like if I know Kazu's going to run in front of me, I know you're going to do something, down forward, 2, 1, and I get my full combo, which I will be touching on a basic combo later in the video, so you can skip to that part if you're interested. But yeah, very, very strong move. Usually you'll just be using the down forward 2 if it's on block, but again, good for whiff punishing. This is also your 15 frame punisher, which we will get to later. Pretty nice option. So now back to block. Back 2 is a safe mid poke with some extensions. It's -9 again, so you do give up your turn pretty much, but we have a couple extensions off of this. We have 1, which is a high follow-up, but this makes it a lot more safe. We do back 2, 1, it's only -3, makes it a lot better for us. We can also do back 1, 1, 1+2, so back 1, 1, and then press 1+2. More basic strings. It is -11, so it is punishable, but most people won't know how to punish this. But it's something worth noting. You can use it occasionally. I wouldn't recommend too much, though. If you want a better move, this is, in my opinion, one of Kuma's best strings for sure that you guys should be using a lot. That is back 1+2. Look at this move. -8 on block, so completely safe. Comes out pretty fast. Multi-hit, and it's a heat engager. This is one of his best strings in my opinion. So you go into heat, fully. Back 1+2, go into heat, natural combo. And again, completely safe. So I'd say this will be one of your best strings, along with using like your jab, your 2-1 to throw them off sometimes, throwing in like a down forward 2, and then back 1+2 when you want to catch them off guard. They press, full heat engager obviously. This is an excellent move. This is a really, really strong move in my opinion. Safe heat engagers are always good, especially when they come from strings like this. So yeah, I'd recommend using this move. It's very good, very good. Another good heat engager with good pressure is while running 1+2. So again, while running just means press forward 3 times, so forward, 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 and 1+2. +3 on block mid, so it can't be ducked, and it is also a heat engager. Plus heat engagers are very rare. Most heat engagers are not plus on block, but Kuma has one with the while running 1+2. This is a great move. Excellent move for pressure. Gives you good plus frames, good knockback, good for like getting your opponent towards the wall. I'd recommend using this move a lot. One of your better heat engagers for sure. Very strong move. What else do we have? Back forward 2. This is a counter hit launcher. Completely safe. It's a high, so it can be ducked, but as we can see here, counter hit launcher. Lots of damage too. So this is a really good move. This is like your, in my opinion, this will be your best counter hit move you want to be throwing out in neutral. Look how fast it is too. 15 frames is not so shabby. That's actually very good for a counter hit launcher. And yeah, completely safe, like I said. Great move. Very, very good move. So Kuma does have some good poking options. It's just, as we go into the stances later, you'll see he has a lot more gimmicky stuff that people tend to prefer to use. Speaking of safe counter hit launchers, we also have sidestep 1+2, only -9, full counter hit launcher. Kind of tricky. A lot of people will duck low because they'll think you're going for their legs, but this is a counter hit launcher as well. A lot slower, of course, but can be useful. Worth noting for sure. We have down back 1+2, another pretty simple string, -9, mid, very evasive as well. It's like a lot of his moves are tricky. Like if you see this move, it looks like it's a mid-high, so a lot of people will try and duck it, but it's actually just a mid, just a very high hitting mid. So very interesting there. It's another string that we can use. 2, safe. 2 is just a safe jab, -1. So instead of, you're giving up the plus frame by using this, but we do have some strings to follow up on here. So if we press 2-1, like I said earlier, only -3, 2-1, 1+3, say, or -14, so risky, but you get a launcher. Okay, this can be good for catching people off guard. I don't think it's a natural string, if I remember correctly. I tested this before, but yeah, not a natural string, so you gotta be a little bit careful with this, but you can throw in the 1+2 to catch them off guard sometimes. It's worth at least keeping in the back of your brain, but not the greatest in the world. Up forward 2, safe on block homing move. Again, homing moves, good players are going to start sidestepping, so we have this to deal with sidestepping. Not terrible. While standing 3 is also a bit of a faster. This one's kind of slow, only 28 frames. So while standing 3 is a lot faster. Another safe homing move to catch your opponents trying to sidestep. Up 1+2, safe on block mid. Very, very good pushback, as you can see here. Very, very nice pushback. Only -4, so this is a pretty good string to use, especially at the wall. It can be very nice. Now let's talk about his lows very quick, because he does have some pretty okay lows. Down back 2 and down back 3 are like his most common low pokes. Down back 2 is more risky. This one is launch punishable, and it's only -1 on hit, so not very good. But it's faster, and it has a lot more range, so its range is actually pretty decent. This is like a key low for Kuma. Sorry to interrupt the video, I just got to shill really quick. You guys know how it is. Only about 7% of my viewers are actually subscribed, so if you guys are enjoying this content and are interested in more Tekken 8 beginners guides, I'm still going to have guides on every single character. I'm going to have information on how to improve in ranked battle, how to pick your character, analysis video, and just so much more. If you're interested in supporting me, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Anyway, back to the video. Down back 3 is a lot better. This is way faster, 18 frames. +1 on hits, so keeping your turn. But as you can see, the range on this move is not the greatest. It really, I mean, it's not like terrible, but you kind of have to be very close to hit it. Whereas the down back 2 will hit from quite far away. So mix those 2s up. When you want range, you go for this one. The down back 2, when you want it, when you're close up, you can go for this one. They're okay. Down back 4 is a very risky low, launch punishable, but it is it's a full counter hit launcher. So risky, but if you know your opponent's going to press, also gives you +6 on block on normal, or +6 on hits on normal hit, and gives you a full combo. This is your main low you'll be using if you want a low counter hit launcher. Again, not the great. I mean, it's pretty bad, or it's pretty okay actually. Like it won't hit from like back here, so not amazing, but not terrible either. This is a good move to use against new players for sure. Up back 1+2. Up back 1+2, this is a very cheesy low. It gives a full knockdown, so a lot of players like this. And he jumps up, so a lot of people won't be expecting it. It doesn't even look like a low, so people won't be ready for this. But a knockdown, very, very unsafe on block, so you got to be careful with this. But you can also cancel this into stance by holding down, I believe. So cancel into hunting stance. Or is it by holding 3+4? Yeah, so if we jump into the air, and then we hold 3+4, you can actually cancel it and bait it out, which I'm going to be talking about his stances in a little bit. But if we do, yeah, up back 1+2, hold 3+4, we can cancel it and get like some cool mix-ups. A good baiting tool, and we will go into his moves from stance later. But in terms of the stances, like I said, we have 3 main stances. They're all relatively simple, so don't get too overwhelmed. I'd say just take it slowly. Try and just get it into your brain first, and eventually when you get more familiar, they'll be like very easy for you to use. His main stance is his hunting stance. We get this by just simply pressing 3+4. He goes onto the ground here, evades a lot of highs, and even evades some mids, actually. So, what options do we have out of the hunting stance? Simple ones, 1-2, 2-hit mid-string. It is unsafe on block, as you can see. Minus 13. Again, a lot of people don't know how to punish this, so you can get a lot of good mileage out of this. What's also cool about this one is if you hold the 2, so rather than just pressing 1-2, do 1, hold 2 down, it becomes, if we set him to hold standing block, it becomes very, very plus on block, I think. Yeah, it gives you +3 on block, very good knockback. So if you know your opponent's respecting you, because a lot of new players, once you've started overwhelming them with a lot of bear strings, they're going to respect you and they're going to be holding back. So you can look for this. Also, while in heat, all these charge moves come out faster, so keep that in mind. So I wouldn't use the regular one. Oops. I wouldn't use the regular one too much, but it's worth noting at least. But usually you want to go for the charged up version. Not terrible. Useful, very useful, like I said, for people who are afraid. 2 out of stance is a decent low, gives a knockdown, so good for mix-ups. It is launch punishable again, so you have to be very careful. But comes out kind of fast, has okay range, good mix-up. So if you know your opponent's expecting like a mid there, or you know your opponent's not paying attention and not blocking lows, you can use that. If you do know your opponent is expecting lows, like they're crouch blocking, because a lot of people, they'll see this stance and they'll immediately hold down because they think you're going to hit him with a low. We have 1+2, which is a full launcher, kind of slow, and it's at minus 15, but this is a full launcher we have access to. Pretty good, pretty bad range, actually. We'll have another one later with a little bit better range, but gives you a full knockdown, worth noting. Not very good, in my opinion, but it is there. The fast launcher option I was talking about is down forward 2. So if we out of stance press down forward 2, this one is a lot better in my opinion. Range is a lot better too. Still not great because that is one of Kuma's main weaknesses. But if you generally, if you want like a bigger combo, you go for the other one I just said. But if you want to make it like a faster move, they have less time to react. Down forward 2. Unsafe on block, obviously all of his launchers are, but full combo, right? Not terrible. It's worth keeping in mind. 3+4 is our power crush option out of stance. So 3+4 to get into stance and then 3+4 again. Mid, minus 12. Most people will not be punishing this. And again, if you know your opponent's mashing strings, it powers through. A better option instead that I like to use more is down 1+2. So similar to the move we said earlier, it's just out of stance. Minus 9 on block. So it's safe, but it will take away your turn. Basically, the choice between these two moves is what you want. If you want Power Crush, you go for the 3+4. If you want a Heat Engager, you go for the what is it? The down or the back 1+2 option, or sorry, the down 1+2 option. So this one doesn't have as much Power Crush, doesn't have any Power Crush, but it's a Heat Engager, so you can start your pressure. So that's how you pick between those two. Generally, I'd just say go for the down 1+2 way more often, just because it's safe, and safety is very important in this game. Pressing in hunting stance, we have forward 1+2, very, very good for low level. No one knows how to beat this. This is a throw, unbreakable, so your opponent can't break it at all. 35 damage. He kind of like dashes forward as well, so pretty good range. You can see, dashes forward. Yeah, the only way to beat this is to crouch, completely unbreakable. So good for mix-ups, especially if your opponent is scared at the wall, or in general, you can go for this. Most people don't know to duck to block this, so it's pretty good. We have back 1+2, 1+2 while in stance. So again, 3+4, back 1+2, 1+2. Gimmicky move. This is like another one of his kind of meme-ish moves. Actually not terrible. Gives you pretty decent damage at 39 damage. That's not bad at all. Pretty slow, and obviously it is fully launch punishable, but a lot of bears spam this move. So that's like a high damaging low. Very risky, but worth noting. We can hold, while in stance, we can hold forward to roll towards the opponent, or press forward twice, which is another stance we're going to be talking about. You can hold back to roll backwards, and then, excuse me, and then we can hold, what else can we do? We can hold forward after, oops, I'm sorry, we can hold forward 3+4 to transition into another stance, which we're going to be talking about. It goes into see how he sits down like that. So if you go 3+4 and then forward 3+4, we transition into the sitting stance. So let's talk about this sitting stance. We can get it to it by itself by pressing down 3+4 at any time. So just in neutral, you press down 3+4, and you immediately sit down and you go into your sitting stance. It's not the greatest stance, but we do have some okay options out of it. Again, a lot of it is pretty gimmicky stuff. 2 is a pretty decent launcher. It's actually not bad at all. It's only -12, so not too risky. You get a full combo. If you want like a safer option, you can go for this, because again, when you go into stances, a lot of new players will just like duck recklessly because they don't know what's going on. So more matchup check stuff. 1-1 is a standard low poke, 2-hit low poke. Not the greatest, but +6, so it is worth noting. You have lots of low and mid mix-ups. Just as long as you're mixing up the lows and mids, that's all that really matters here. 3+4 is kind of like a meme move again, like so down 3+4 and then 3+4 again. Not very good. -4 on hits, or yeah, like not the greatest. It doesn't really give you anything. You can roll out of the stance by holding forward to go into your roll stance, and that's about it for sit stance. He really doesn't have a lot of great options out of this. Mainly just the low we mentioned, and then the launcher, just to mix up your opponents for that. But by holding forward, again, we can roll out of this, which is another stance. So let's talk about the rolling stance really quick. While he's rolling like this, he has access to, again, another set of moves that are a lot simpler. We can also access roll by holding crouch and pressing 1+2. So if we crouch 1+2, we automatically get a roll. So what do we have access to in roll? We have access to some pretty basic stuff. We have access to, 2, normal launcher, very unsafe, but you do get a full combo. 1 is actually a very, very strong move that people don't really talk about enough, especially in this game. It's gotten a lot better. So if we roll and we press 1, +4 on block high, basically an electric, only 1 frame lower than an electric on block. And this move actually breaks your guard in heat, which we're going to talk about heat fully later. Don't worry about that. But if we go into this, oh, we're not in heat, sorry. If we go into this, fully breaks your guard and gives you a lot of plus frames. So I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but pretty decent. Yeah, pretty decent. I said 1 is the high that gives you the plus on block. 2 is the launcher, very risky. 3 is a low slide out of roll. So press 3, we get a slide. Not very good, but good to, I guess, to keep your opponent in check, I guess. I wouldn't use this very often. 4 out of roll is a very plus on block roll, but it keeps you on the ground, and this transitions you. So while Bear is standing like this on the ground, we have access to a couple meme options, like 1+2 is the one you see all the like donkey spamming. So while you are like in roll on the ground, if you hold forward, you can go, like this. Press 1+2, and you can. But I wouldn't. This is just like meme stuff. You aren't actually going to be using it. That's why I'm not going too into this, because it's not good at all. But yeah, in his hunting stance, you can press 4 and then 3 to transition into rolls and just be on the floor. Not very good, but I thought I'd mention it. It's kind of like a meme move. Speaking of meme moves, we also have 1, 3, 4. So 1+3+4, like I said here. It's a taunt. It's kind of a big meme. But what's interesting about this is if your opponent is on the ground, we have access to a different version, which is, I believe it's down 2-4, which is, he just does the same thing, but like towards you. So he'll do this. If we do, or sorry, it's down 1+4. So if he's on the ground, then we do down 1+4. Oops, let me try this again. See how he'll run towards you? Again, not good at all, but maybe you're here for the memes. Maybe you just like Kuma and Panda for the memes. So something, I guess, at least worth mentioning. We can get into some basic punishment really quick, and then we'll go into heat and the differences. So your 10 frame, 2-1. 12 frame, forward, 2-1. Pretty decent damage. Your 13 frame is 1+2, decent heat engager. And then your 15 frame launcher will be down, forward, 2-1, full combo. For crouching punishments, 11 frame is while standing 4. While standing 4, 13 frame, 1-2, and 15 frame is while standing 2 as your full launcher. And in terms of simple combos, a lot of people don't actually use the sample combo. You can just go here and just check out a bunch of very easy combos for beginners. But I'll go over this one really quick just because it's pretty easy and pretty decent damage. So again, the whiff punishing tool I told you guys about earlier, down, forward, 2-1, very good move. It's your 15 frame launcher. So out of this, we just do forward 3, back 2, 2, 1. Oops. So forward 4, back 2, 2, 1, and then forward 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. That's it. Very simple. Again, down forward 1, 2, back 4, back 2, 2, 1, forward 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. Easy, 65 damage. Simple combo, right? You can practice this. Very, very easy to execute. If you want more combos, we have so many options here. These are all amazing for beginners, and they're all very simple. None of Kuma's combos will be particularly hard. So you can start learning them like that. That's the basics of Kuma. That should give you enough already to start playing with him. But let's talk about heat. So we'll start with like things that are shared between Kuma and Panda, and then we'll go to like the differences. Starting with heat engagers. Back 1 plus 2, like I said earlier, insanely strong string, safe on block, one of your best ones for sure. Back 1 is kind of a gimmicky one. This is unsafe. I think is it launch punishable? I don't actually remember. Oops. Minus 13, so not launch punishable, but it is unsafe. I wouldn't recommend this one. What's interesting about this is you can hold 3 plus 4 after the transition into stance for mix-ups. So something worth noting. I wouldn't use this one a lot though. Not very good. 1 plus 2, another one, unsafe, minus 13. Wouldn't use this one a lot. And the down 1 plus 2 I mentioned earlier in hunting stance. This is another really good option. So those are like your best ones, in my opinion. So now we're going to get into some key differences between Kuma and Panda. There's not too many. If we could just set into heat over here. First of all, their rage arts are different, obviously. Their heat smashes are different, just different animations. Kuma's does a little bit more damage. Nothing too crazy there. In heat, Kuma gets access to electrics, like the Mishimas. Now, they're a lot easier to do, and they're arguably a lot worse, but mainly just because they're predictable, because your opponent knows you have you can only do this in heat. So, and they're one button, so they're easier. So by pressing down forward 2 plus 3 while in heat, only while in heat, we get an electric wind god fist. As you can see in the top left, it takes up a bit of your heat gauge, so you can spam it, but you're going to run out of heat. But like any other electric, plus 5 on block, but unlike any other electric, this is a special mid, meaning your opponent cannot duck this. They can't duck it at all. So a lot of people will try and duck it and will get hit by it anyway, and it leads to pretty decent combo damage. So very good move for pressure. You can hold down forward 2 plus 3 for a charged up version. This gives you plus 9 on block and tons of chip damage. So you can go for that if your opponent respects you. Pretty good at the wall, in my opinion. We can also do the manual electric input for slightly more damage. So if we check the damage difference here, if we just press down forward 2 plus 3, it does, what, 20 damage? But if we do the inputs, the input is forward, neutral, down, down, forward, 2. You don't need the just frame, so it's very easy. Just forward, neutral, down, down, forward, 2. Like this. Oops. Very simple. You get 3 more damage, so there's a reason to do the input version if you want slightly more damage. I wouldn't worry about it too much if you're a beginner. You can also hold it down, the input version, for, again, more damage. Just hold 2 down. Way more stuff. And overall, these moves are quite strong. You can get some pretty good stuff out of them. As you can see there, that's not optimized at all. That's 84 damage. And all I did was just hold down the electric and then heat smash. 84 damage guaranteed when you're in heat. Like, you get access to some really, really good combos. A lot of times at the wall, when your opponent is blocking, you can literally just spam this until your heat runs out, because most opponents don't know. You have to like sidestep or power crush to get through this, because you can't duck it. So a lot of people will get caught. It's good for catching beginners off guard, for sure. Not bad at all. Another generic thing really quick, while we're rolling in heat, it becomes an attack, it becomes a special mid, it does chip damage, and like I said earlier, the one option out of roll becomes a guard break. Very, very, very strong. Now, if we quickly go to Panda, I'll show you the different move Panda has during heat, which is Shooting Stars, which is a move from Xiaoyu. So Panda gets access to Shooting Stars, up forward 3 plus 4 while you're in heat. Oops. As you can see here. Very strong string, in my opinion. Plus 12 on block. That's worth noting for sure. And it gives you an immediate roll after if you hold forward. So if you do nothing, I think it goes into your sit stance. Yeah, it does. And if you hold forward, you go into immediate sit stance and then roll. And then, again, like I said earlier, the roll gives you a guard break while you're in heat. So these are good options. But yeah, those are really the only differences. Panda has the Shooting Stars. They're basically exactly the same characters. So that's been Panda and Kuma, the beginner's guide. These characters are not very strong, but if you like them, you can make them work. They do a pretty decent whiff punishing. And yeah, that's all I got today. I'm sure I missed some stuff, so feel free to let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll make like a pinned comment going over everything I missed. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good day. I'll see you guys later.